45. Brown, 45. Hot, 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 hot.
You are listening to Any Given Sunday, Australia.
Yes, welcome to the Any Given Sunday Australia podcast, the number one podcast in at least 3 households, 1 studio, American Football Australia head office, NFL Australia head office, the Pro Kick head office, and down in Florida, because today we've got us joining is the latest Pro Kick legend that's trying his hand at the NFL. He's been voted the best mullet in Florida. He's number 29 for the Seminoles, Mr. Alex Mastromanno. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. Thanks for having me. It's a huge privilege to be here with you guys, so looking forward to it.
No, mate, the privilege is all ours having you on. It's been a tough grind getting you on. You keep off the socials and off the media during the season, so it's great to get you on finally now that the season is done. You've said you've listened to a few of our podcasts, so you know how we start. You know what I like to do just to get to know you a little bit, mate. The most famous person in your phone that you could message right now and they could message back, who is it?
Have you heard of The Machine, Bert Kreischer? One of the stand-up, he's one of the stand-up comedians that goes around. I think he has a few Netflix specials. Got his number and caught up with him a few times since I've been over here, and awesome dude. Really funny guy. I'm not, we're not best mates or anything like that, but he came over here a couple months ago. Actually, saw him on the balcony after a game one night, and he came over and had a cigar together, and talked a bit of shit, and he's a funny man and pretty famous, I'd say.
He's definitely famous, and that's you've led straight into my next question, which was Timmy Gleeson from Pro Kick. He told me pretty much throughout the whole season, you've got to get Mastro on. He's a very funny man. And I asked him, is there any questions that I should ask? And he said, what is your relationship with comedian Bert? I'm glad you said his last name because I don't want to say it. I'll fuck it up. So how did that... So it was literally, did he love the mullet? Did he love the way you play? Like, how did that come about?
Yeah, so it was during the 23 season. He was down on the sidelines because he used to go to FSU, and he was back for a show in town that night, and he came to, I think, the FSU Syracuse game, and being a punter, you're on the sidelines a bit longer, you're not as locked in necessarily as the other guys, and I was speaking to him for a while, and we shared a few stories and got along pretty well, and we ended up exchanging each other's details and just sort of staying in touch. So when he's in Tallahassee, we'll catch up sometimes, and it just sort of went from there, like this funny friendship that we have going, and awesome guy.
Yes. So when I come over, we're going to catch up with Bert because I know him. He's just one of those guys that definitely over here, you always hear about him and you know him and stuff, and you see him on Netflix. But just looking up all of the stuff he does now, he's a very funny man. So we're going to catch up when I come over and see you play. But the other question I had for you was about your dog. What kind of dog do you have, and what's his name?
I got a French bulldog, so he's asleep on the couch right now. I'm not going to wake him up because he gets pretty grumpy. Samuel Jackson, little fella. He's about 3.5 now. He's pretty famous around Tallahassee. He loves walking through College Town and going to all the bars and nightclubs around here. So he's good fun, and I might get another one next year. See how we go.
How did you come up with Samuel L. Jackson for the dog?
I was just one night. I was just thinking of potential names, and I was thinking of like movie characters and just like people that I like, and that one just really hit, and I thought it would be a great name for him, and it really has been.
It's taken off. Yeah. All right, so you're a Melbourne boy, and you're a multi-sport athlete from everything that I could see growing up. What did you actually play when you were growing up down in Melbourne?
I grew up playing Australian football like most of the Pro Kick boys that come here, and then a bit of tennis as well. They were probably my main 2 sports, I think. I was captain of lawn bowls actually in year 12. I forgot about that one. Pretty high up there on the achievements.
The hand-eye coordination when you...
it's helps me to this day. And it was mainly just footy, I think. You know what it's like once you get to 15, 16 and like that it starts getting a bit more serious. You don't really have time for other sports and things like that. So yeah, that was my main sport.
Is there any truth to the rumour that you were the best footballer to come out of Brighton Grammar?
No, definitely not. I had the privilege of playing in the forward line and having a guy named Andrew McGrath running down the midfield every week, just hitting me lace out on the chest. So I think he made me look a lot better than what I was. I had a pretty decent kick, and that was about it. But yeah, definitely not the best coming out of BGS.
So, do you have Andy McGrath's number in your phone? Is he going to be shitty that when he listens to this that he wasn't your most famous?
I spoke to him. I actually spoke to him yesterday for a while. So yeah, he might not be too happy about that one, but we'll see. He can, when he comes over next, he can catch up with Bird as well, and we can all we'll see who's more famous then.
Yeah. How did you come across Chappie and Johnny at Pro Kick and decide that punting is something that for you could head down?
Yeah, well, I was in my first year of VFL, playing at the Pies. By no means was a VFL legend. I think I played one game as a 23rd man for about 40 minutes. And then, I ran about 8 kilometres, I think, in that short time. And I thought that was pretty good. And then I got told my top end speed was nowhere near it. And I'm like, geez, like I thought I was running pretty good. And then, so I kind of decided, I'm like, yeah, maybe I don't have what it takes for the AFL. And that's when I knew a couple other guys like Blake, who I went to school with, and a few other boys doing Pro Kick. So I went down, did the assessment with Chappie right before the next phase of the VFL season, and then I decided to pull the plug with AFL pursuits and to start punting with Pro Kick. Chappie told me, he was pretty transparent and just said, I think you can go big in this, and you got a good kick, and with the right amount of work and everything, we can get you over to a good school. And then I think that was around 2018 that I started full time in Pro Kick, and
So you played VFL, you got a game, you got a lot further than anyone else. Was it a big decision at the time, even though you've got a chance when you're playing VFL, obviously? You've seen these days, the later and the older people getting drafted and rookied and things like that. Was it a big decision to sit down and say, you know what, I'm gonna move on from this? Yeah,
it definitely was. I was like 19 at the time, and it was still a pretty big life-changing decision. So I was really going through all the pros and cons of it all, because you grow up, most kids in Australia that want to play AFL, that's like your dream. So I guess to be pulling the plug on that at 19, it was a bit weird, but I was just more so excited about the opportunity with, going to school in America, getting a degree, chance of playing the NFL, just chance of playing college even. I just thought that seemed, just too good to be true in a way. So that really excited me and helped with the decision. But it was a little bit sad at the start, thinking of leaving friends and family behind and all those other sacrifices. It was definitely a bit of a tough choice, but I know I made the right decision.
Did you get to head over the States? I know the boys at Pro Kick through a lot of tours beforehand. Did you get to go over and see any colleges before ultimately settling on FSU?
No, it was the first time I came here was 2020 when I started in the spring semester. So never been to the States before that. And coming to Florida State, I thought, oh, here we go. Like, I'm going to be in Miami Beach every day. It's going to be awesome. And then I got here in winter, and we're driving, and Tallahassee's located like south of Georgia pretty much. And we're driving through all these bushes, and it's very green. And I'm like, I thought I was being stitched up. I'm like, where's he taking me? And I love Tallahassee now, but that was a bit of a shock coming here. I thought I was going to be down at Miami Beach every day or something and living it up there. And then I realized I'm pretty much in the most country part of Florida. We're 20 minutes away from Georgia. So that was definitely a bit of a cultural shock at the start. But like I said, I love it here, and it's awesome.
So what was it about Florida State that got you over the line? Or was it Johnny ringing you at 2 a.m. saying, mate, I've got you somewhere? Probably more the second part, like Johnny calling me just saying, hey, we want to send a boy to Florida State. We've been trying to for a few years now. And it was a little bit of a process because the coaches got fired before I was supposed to come on an official visit. And then, Johnny was pretty, persistent on getting me to FSU. He thought it would be a good fit for me. And
I think it has been for sure. And it was a bit of a process to get here. It took probably 6 to 8 months just dealing with the coaching changes and things like that. But luckily ended up here in the end.
And study is always a big part of the pro kick, culture, and they do preach that you're not just going over there to kick a ball. You got to go over there and set up your life. So what is it that you've been studying while you've been over there?
Yeah, so I actually graduated in 2023. I did a hospitality degree, so that was pretty cool. And then because of COVID, we all got an extra year of eligibility. So I was able to come back in 24 and play. So they just put me in some sociology classes. So that was really interesting. Going through last year with the election and everything, it was pretty eye-opening being in one of those classes, just with the, the whole political atmosphere going on over here. It was pretty full on. So I'm still taking some classes at the moment in that class, and it's been fun.
You mentioned that you committed in December of 2019, which of course means you fly over, you get yourself settled, and then a global pandemic breaks out. How was that COVID affected year for you? You said you made the big sacrifices of leaving family and friends. So ultimately, obviously, it was different in every part of the country in America. But were you isolated? Like, did you go over there and you were, all of a sudden all by yourself every day?
Yeah, it was really weird, and I think what made it even weirder was it was my first year over here, so I wasn't used to what college football was like before. I just got here in January, and all of a sudden I was back home in March because of COVID and the borders, and there was a lot of panic, as you remember, and I wasn't sure if there was going to be a season or anything like that, and I ended up coming back here in August for fall camp, and then I had to go through a lot of those protocols like testing, masks, all that stuff, and not even being in classes. So for the whole season, there was a bit of that isolation and being home a lot of the time, and just training, being at home, not really experiencing the full taste of that college experience. It was definitely challenging and pretty strange. And fortunately, a year after, it was a bit more normal over here. So that was good. But that first season was, it was pretty crazy looking back on it now, just what everyone had to go through.
How did you adjust once you did get back over there? You get thrown straight into, there's meetings, there's practice, there's team lifts, there's, school, there's all those kind of things. How did you go readjusting to that kind of life?
Yeah, I was speaking to you about meetings before. There's a lot of them over here, and as a punter and kicker, and a lot of the specialists know it's pretty black and white what our job is. So when you're sitting in these meetings with 15, 30, 60 minutes, it can be a bit long. So, I mean, that was a bit of an adjustment, getting used to that. And, I guess the professionalism at a collegiate level over here is probably similar to that of an AFL team, especially in the Power 5 conferences. So it was a bit of an adjustment at first. But, I feel like in a way that COVID year, it sort of helped ease me into it. We only had an 8-game season. We were playing in stadiums with a quarter of the capacity of what we were supposed to be. So I just looked at it as a bit of an apprenticeship phase and, just easing into what was to come next. So in a way, I'd like to say it helped me. It helped me gain an extra year of eligibility. So when I look back on it like that, it was an interesting time, but at least there were some positives that came from it.
Unfortunately, the team that you came into, it started off a little bit slow. You didn't have the best couple of first years that you were there, but usually that means there's a lot more work for you to be doing. Did you ever feel at a point where you felt settled, that you weren't, vying for your spot week to week?
Yeah, I think that first fall camp when I was here in 2020, that was probably my most competitive in terms of competition, trying to win the job, because the previous punter, he had played the last couple of seasons. So that was pretty cool to come in and compete for a starting job. And then after that, I feel like I sort of cemented my spot after having a good first year, and really felt like I was the guy, and I was going to be the guy here for the next few years. And I've had awesome competition over the years, but I felt like yeah, that first year is really important to do well, to win your job and earn your stripes, because I think now, like you've probably started to see this as well, like with NIL and other things like that in collectives, I think college football has become so much more of a business now. Not that it wasn't a business, but just players are getting 6-month scholarships now. And it's not like as cut and dry as you're getting a 4-year scholarship now and you're guaranteed the job for 4 years. It's very competitive now. And I think, yeah, I was fortunate to have 4 to 5 seasons here and play every game and things like that. But I think, yeah, we'll see in the future. I know some boys are only getting offered, 1-year deals and 2-year deals and things like that. So it's going to be interesting to see how it changes over the years as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like, in a lot of ways, it's good that you've got out of that before it changes too much and you can move on to bigger and better things.
Yeah.
One thing I did notice about you, which I haven't noticed with too many players, and in fact, you're the first I have noticed, you changed your number from 21 to 29 halfway through your career. What was it that changed, and why did you pick 29? Yeah,
so I thought I'd keep my head down in my first year when I was given number 49. And I didn't really like 49. Like, in AFL, the numbers only go up to like 45 or 50. So I'm not used to these high numbers. And over here, obviously, the numbers go up to 99. So I'm like, I'll play my first season, then I'll go ask coach if I can change my number to 21. I thought that was a cool number. And then halfway through the season, in my second year, when I was wearing 21, one of my gunners on punt, he got injured. So we had to have one of our wide receivers come in so he could run down the field with me. And the coaches came over and said, hey, we can't have 2 21s on the field. You're going to have to put on number 29. And I wasn't going to argue with them because I'd rather have this guy running down and making fair catches for me to make me look better. So since then, they put me back in 29 and, haven't really looked back.
What number were you playing AFL?
Oh, I had a few. I was definitely lower. I think I was number 9 for Bright and Grammar. I remember that. Maybe 15 for the Dragons. Again, not that I played many games for the Dragons, but then the Pies, I might have been a high number there too. I'm thinking 74. But again, wasn't going to walk into Buckley's office and argue with him about that, or whoever the coach was there at the time. They'd be like, "Who's this kid? Get him out."
I want to, mate. 74 just doesn't flow with me. I want a better number. It could have worked. You never know. Mate, you've gone looking through your stats year on year. You've gone strength and strength, just getting better and better. And it's culminated in multiple Ray Guy nominations, multiple semi-finalists, all-American first and second teams. You've just award after award. Like, how does it sit with you having that kind of recognition for playing your role on the team? Yeah,
I said, when I got some of those accolades, it's just really humbling because before you come over here, you obviously look at the Michael Dixons, the Mitch Wisnowskis, and a lot of those boys, and I think the goal is to, you want to be that guy, you want to be in that position to be successful and have a shot at the next level. So I guess when it's happening to you, it is, it feels funny. It's definitely really humbling to be recognised with some of those accolades. But at the end of the day, it's just been such a journey. Like this whole thing, it's such a big adventure coming over here and, experiencing college and being able to play in front of these crowds and things like that in a different country and do well. So, I mean, that in itself is such an achievement that a lot of the accolades that can come if you're lucky enough, it's really nice. It's really humbling, like I said, and it's just all part of the journey, I guess. Like I said, I know the hard work that goes into it, and you would as well, seeing the other guys and what they've achieved. So it's definitely a nice position to be recognised like that. But yeah, there are a lot of people that have helped me get to this point that I definitely wouldn't be here without them. So I guess I like sort of deflecting some of that onto those people that helped me, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense, mate. It sounds like you're a very humble character, which will hold you in good stead. How have you found that kind of flows on from that then? a lot of the college, and FSU is quite a big college. It's out in the sticks, like you said, but it's still got quite a big presence. And then the media, either within the college or outside of the college, can be brutal as well. How have you found? Have you copped any media scrutiny while you've been over there?
Yeah, I reckon the worst was probably this one game. I felt like I'm a Pies fan. No disrespect to Mason Cox, but it reminded me of when he threw the ball through the. He was running into an open goal and he threw the ball through the goalpost. I actually had an incident like that where I was running with the ball and I pretty much sold candy to a dude because I was about to get blocked. And then I kept running and I'm like, do I kick it? Do I not? Do I kick it? And then the punt pressure team, they started running towards me. I'm like, oh, shit, I better kick this ball. And then I'd pass the line of scrimmage by about 2 or 3 inches, I reckon. And I've kicked it. It's gone. It was a decent kick. And then the ref's thrown the flag. They're like, this is a penalty, like Punter ran past the line of scrimmage. And it was a close game and we ended up losing. And I was like, oh, fuck, like I've just lost the game for us. And I was, like videos are getting posted on ESPN. And I'm like, this is not the type of attention you want. And I think it's funny, answering your question, how do you deal with the media? I reckon my mates were worse. They were all sending me screenshots of it, pissing themselves laughing, like, just laughing. I'm like, fuck. I can't hide from this one. And I think the best way, that's probably the worst, but I look at that now, I find it hilarious that I went through that. And like I said, with the, Mason Cox example, I use him because he's obviously foreigner that's come to Australia and had an extremely successful AFL career, and I really respect that. And I think that, it's not always, it doesn't always go perfect over here. Like I said, it's a journey. You have your ups and downs. I've had plenty of highs, but there have been some times where there's been media scrutiny and things like that. But other than that moment, I haven't had too much problems with the media or things like that. But it is funny how much attention some of those boys do get over here. It's like, and like I spoke to you about earlier with NIL and things like that, some of these guys, the money they're making, the platform that they have and the stage they're on every week and just every day with social media, things like that, it is pretty crazy what 18, 19-year-olds, even high school recruits are starting to deal with these days. So, as a punter, it's good. You're not in the limelight too much, but I've had my fair share of ups and downs with video clips for sure.
Sounds like you're smart, but you keep your head down though, and they don't. Just do your job and get off the field and start talking to comedians on the sideline.
That's it. Stick to your strengths.
You mentioned how big, so I've seen upwards of 90,000 that you're playing in front of, and you're not only the punter, which would come naturally to you now, but you're the holder for the side as well. Have you ever found any pressure being the holder while you've got 85, 90,000 people looking over you? Yeah,
I think sometimes I can get more nervous holding than I do punting, just because I feel like punting's pretty within my control and I know what I'm doing when I'm out there and things like that. But when you're holding, you're pretty reliant on the snapper. Like, I'm very close friends with Fitzy as well. Amazing kicker here, amazing career, and one of my best mates as well. So, I mean, I want to make sure, like, I'm helping him. So there's sort of like a bit more layers to it when you're holding, a few more moving pieces and things like that. So I love holding. I love getting out there and getting to experience that and being on the field as much as I can. So that's been really cool. And I honestly love running out. I feel like I love feeding off the energy from crowds and things like that. Like even this year when we played Miami in a packed house and they were going really good, it's just, I think you appreciate it way more in your final years here when you do get to play in these big crowds. And I've really enjoyed it.
Being one of the older, if not the oldest player in the locker room, you could probably tell me that one. How big of a leadership role have you taken on, the last couple of years? Yeah, I think I am. Definitely was the oldest. I think 24 and then, maybe 23 as well. It's funny because, I'm in the specialist group. I think our youngest kicker and long snapper that just came in, one was 17. He was an early enrollee. And, I'm nearly 10 years older than him. So I'm almost like his older brother or, fucking nearly old enough to be his dad, So it's been a funny transition because when I got here, I was around 21. But, fast forward 5 years, the difference between
26 and 17-year-olds, it's a big gap. So I've tried being, that older brother, just, funny guy that they can talk to about anything, whether it's football or life. And I feel like I've grown into those leadership roles over the years, and just, like, you come on, you do your job, like you said, when you're punting, and you come off, so you're not really involved in the game too much. But I think, there's other ways you can contribute, just being a good guy. And I think that maturity helps in this environment for sure, and hopefully other guys feed off that.
You're speaking about growing and growing into it. The mullet, mate, where is that? It wasn't always there. You didn't grow over there with it. You've grown into it and it just become a bit of your persona, or how's that come about?
Yeah, I reckon it was my first year because of COVID, and everything was shut. So I just sort of let my hair grow out and get disgusting. Not that it's looking less disgusting now, but then one of my mates, Taylor-Britt, I don't know if you know of Roosie, but he came here and he's like, mate, I reckon you should rock the mullet, and I did, and I've stuck with it. I've cut it before and regretted it, so I grew it back, and we'll see how it goes.
It looks like there's some blonde photos. There's a few different haircuts you've been rocking while you're over there.
We went blonde for a little bit as well. That was pretty funny. And I tried a few different haircuts, but I think I'm going to stay with my natural brown for now. And I won't be dyeing it anytime soon, I hope. Yeah.
The mullet sticks out though, mate, so I like it. It'll make, especially going forward with what we've got coming the next few months, it might help you just sit above the crowd, which is what we're aiming for. So you've got to play in some pretty enormous games and incredible stadiums. Is there anything finishing up your college career now that stands out?
Yeah, I'd say the Miami rivalry. It's probably equivalent to Collingwood Carlton or Essendon Carlton rivalry, or just any big rivalry game. I think a lot of Aussies don't really get it, but you come to the tailgates and you see the 100,000 people outside the stadiums, that it's like, then there's also another 100,000 inside the stadiums as well. It's just nothing else really like it, like those big rivalry games you have here. And I was fortunate to play against Miami 5 times. We won 3 of them. And every year the build up for that game, we speak about that game at the start of every year and what it means to the program and things like that. And then obviously the Florida State versus Florida Gators, that's also another big rivalry game as well. So they're probably the ones that stick out for me when I look back at like my favourite games, favourite weeks and things like that. And I really vividly remember all of those games, and they were really fun to be a part of.
You mentioned that you took your COVID year, so heading into this last year, you knowing it was your final year, did you take a step back just to kind of take it all in a little bit more, or was it just locked in all the time?
I'd say a bit of both. Like I was super appreciative that I was able to come back and use that COVID year, because I don't think anyone else really has that opportunity unless like you've redshirt or you've been injured and things like that. And it definitely was a special year, like knowing this is your last year for sure, and just probably soaking in some of those games a little bit more than I did in the past, like when I was a freshman here and going through COVID and those things we spoke about. So it was really nice to have another year and just soak it in.
Just recently you've been invited and went down to the Hula Bowl. How was that whole experience and journey that you had?
Yeah, it was awesome. I was lucky enough to be with a couple other Aussies there. We had Mark Bassett from Colorado and Jesse Mirko from Vandy. So it was nice having a couple of Aussies with me, and it was a good experience. Good to be able to, punt in front of the scouts and speak to some of them, and be able to play in the Hula Bowl. It was an awesome experience.
You just mentioned it. You've punted in front of a few scouts because you have nominated for the draft, and you've been invited down to the combine as well, which is huge for a punter. What is the next few weeks, preparing for that kind of looking? Yeah,
so I head over to Cali this weekend actually, so in a couple of days, and I'm going to go down to San Diego for a bit and then meet up with Chappie from Pro Kick, and there's a few of us going out there for 7 to 10 days, and we're going to train with him leading up to the combine. So looking forward to seeing Chappie and playing a bit of golf, I'm sure. And not that I'm pretty shit house at golf, to be honest, but it's always fun getting out there with him and, kick some bowls with the boys as well. And, I'll head back to Tallahassee and then I'll be here for a couple of days and, head to the Combine at the end of the month. So just super excited for that.
Has the whole scouting, besides speaking to the scouts, have you spoken to any teams or anything like that? Has that all started yet, or is it more closer to the Combine?
No, there's been a fefew teams, had some really good conversations down at the Hula Bowl, and I think now that the season's done and dusted, the playoffs are all done and things like that, I think towards the Combine and your Pro Day and like heading more towards the draft, I think things like that really start heating up around then. So, just looking forward to it all.
Have you got a plan for the draft? Are you speaking to a few boys who spoke to Jezza Crawshaw not long ago? It's a tough position to be drafted in. So, do you have a plan to watch the draft, or are you just going to, as it comes, and then if you get a phone call, you get a phone call kind of thing? Yeah,
I think what you said just then, I haven't thought about the day itself too much, to be honest, and where I'll be and what I'll be doing, just because I feel like there's quite a few other bits and pieces before all that. But I want to enjoy watching the draft. I'm sure I'll just be at home. I'm not going to throw some over-the-top draft party. I don't think many punters do, just because, like you said, it's very rare for punters to get drafted and things like that. It's normally a free agent signing. So, I'll probably just enjoy it at home and, have it on the tally with Samuel Jackson next to me.
Did you know much about the sport before you actually headed over, like as in the NFL? Do you have a team that you follow or, that you're willing to change to when you get drafted?
I think, once I got over here, I started enjoying the NFL a lot more. I'd always watch the Super Bowl and things like that, and I enjoyed watching the Cowboys and a couple other teams. But I feel like since I've been here, I've been following it a lot more and starting to get into it. And I feel like it definitely is growing a lot more in Australia now, just in the last 10 years with a lot of the boys coming over as well. And like we spoke about earlier, there's going to be a game there in 2026 when the Rams go play at the G. So I think it's just going to raise more awareness for the game in Australia, which is really cool to see it growing.
Breaking news, mate. You've done well. You've just broken the game is coming down here in 2026, which is huge. Having that leading into the draft, having the likes of, Chappie and that to lean on and, past pro kick guys that have either gone on to either CFL or in the NFL, is there anyone that that you can, reach out to and lean on in those kind of situations?
So I'm good mates with, Matty Hayball, who you'd obviously know. He's been through his first season at the Saints, and Lou Headley is one of my best mates as well, and he's he was at a year, and then Hayball actually went there and they competed for the job, and now he's still doing some free agent workouts and things like that. So it's good to speak to those guys and just see what that process is like, and get some tips from them and things to work on, and what teams might be looking for and things like that, because it is a big transition going from college to the NFL from what they've explained. But it's good having guys that you can reach out to and just sort of help facilitate that change that's coming.
Mate, I've got one more question for you. I can't thank you enough for coming on. You've been an incredible chat. Late night for you as well, which is even better with the puppy dog sleeping next to you. So, again, I can't thank you enough for coming on and having a chat to us. But for anyone who else is thinking of this kind of path, whether it's playing or just going over to college, and it might be a punter, it might be a big defensive linesman or something like that, but what kind of advice do you have for anyone who's thinking of heading over and playing college football?
I'd definitely say to do it. You don't have to be the biggest kick out there. You can, if you just want that college experience and running out on the field and playing in these big games, I'd definitely say it's more fun than playing local footy and things like that. And like I said, it doesn't even have to be you need to go to the NFL and put that pressure on you. It can just be you want to get a degree, you want to go to uni, and there's a lot of avenues for that and a lot of places for that as well. And Johnny and Chappie and Tim, they're the best in the business by far, and I think they'll place you where, where you want to go and where they think you can go. So, like I said to you earlier, yeah, there are a few things to consider before I came over here, but it just really excited me coming to the States, and the connections you'll make, the relationships with people that you'll meet along the way. Like I said, it's a massive journey, and I think, I'm so glad that I did. I don't know what I'd be doing if I was back home right now in Melbourne, probably not much, but I'd definitely recommend it to anyone who's thinking about it for sure.
Mate, you've been an absolute legend, and I look forward to watching the draft, whether it's day 1, 2, or 3, and hearing your name called out. We'll be keeping in touch for sure wherever you get drafted.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it. It was good to be on. I'm gonna go grab Samuel Jackson to say hi.
He needs to say hello.
Yeah. He's just woken up. Oh.
He sounds heavy.
Here's the little fella.
There he is.
I've just woken him up, but he's about 20 pounds, so he's a bit chunky, but he's very pissed off.
20 bars, mate. That's all it is.
Yeah, he loves the bars around here. He's loves Tallahassee.
Local favourite. Awesome, mate. Appreciate you and Samuel L. Jackson coming on.
No, all good, mate. Speak to you soon.
Cheers, mate.
See you, Robert.